G'day, it's Richard Maher again from Mars Classes. In this episode we're going to look at how you can record a voiceover over an existing presentation in Keynote or PowerPoint. Time of delivery of remote learning opportunities to your students, you may wish to use one of your old presentations, but when you look at it and think if the student is going to be flicking through the slides without you giving explanations, they're not going to understand. It's going to be pretty useless. So look, I've got a presentation here I'm going to show you. Now currently if I check the size of it, it's only 2.3 megabytes. So let me just show you the way that you can record it. This is a keynote, and a similar thing will occur with PowerPoint if you use PowerPoint. What you can do is under the play menu you can go record slideshow. What it will enable you to do is, if you can see the bottom of my screen here, there is now a record button. This is my microphone showing here that my voice can be recorded. If I click record here, it gives me a count in, and now I can start my oral presentation on this thing. So, as I said, if you have a presentation which the students just download without the dialogue and without context, it could be meaningless, and you can easily record your voiceover by doing what I'm doing right now. Here's an example. It's a physics presentation I have. If the kids just go through these slides right now, it doesn't have too much meaning for them. I've put a bit of time into this presentation, and what will be occurring is in the classroom, traditionally, I'd be explaining what's happening at each stage of this presentation. Right now, the students wouldn't have much of an idea. So let's go backwards and just record over that. So, I'll get back to here. So what I'd say is if you have a current carrying conductor carrying the current up the screen, there will be a magnetic field produced around it, and the dot on the magnetic field coming out of the screen, and there's a cross on the magnetic field going into the screen or into the page. All around the current carrying conductor, that magnetic field will be, and you'll see it'll be denser closer to the wire and less dense further out, so the strength will vary. If you looked at the wire from the end, you'd see that the current is coming out in the middle, and you get the field, if the current is coming out, the magnetic field is travelling in a clockwise direction. You can predict that by using your right hand, where your thumb is in the direction of the current and your fingers are curling in the direction of the magnetic field produced. The same thing is going to happen if the current carrying conductor is going down the page, and in that time, in this instance, you'll have the current coming out of the field on the left-hand side and into the page on the right-hand side. So, what happens when you have the current carrying conductor placed into a magnetic field? So here I've got the current carrying conductor carrying the current into the page. If I place in the magnetic field going to the left of the page, you'll notice that on the top of the conductor, the fields are in opposite directions, but on the bottom of the conductor, they're in the same direction. So what you'll end up having is a weakened field above and a strengthened field below, which will end up producing a force upwards. If you look at what the field lines are doing, it's almost like there's a density below which is more dense than the field above. So therefore you get this upward force to lead to sort of an equalisation of the fields. The same thing would happen if you have the conductor coming out of the page in the same field. It will experience a force downwards, and there's an animation here to show that. That is way easier for the students to interpret what's going on. So let's now stop this recording by pressing the record button. Then I escape to get out of the recording of it. I've now got this presentation recorded with the voiceover. Now when the students come to play it, this is what will happen. They'll go play recorded slideshow, and now I can start my oral presentation on this thing. So, as I said, if you have a that is my recorded voice. Just download without the dialogue and without context, it could be meaningless, and you can easily record your voiceover by doing what I'm doing right now. Here's an example. It's a physics presentation I have. So I'm just exiting that now. So what I'll do now is save it. I'll save it as it was. Remember, it was 2.3 meg originally. What is the size of it now? If we go to the info, we find that it has increased in size, but not too much. It's sort of doubled in size. It's a really nice way of being in the room without being in the room. As I said, PowerPoint does the same thing. It's just that the controls are in slightly different places.